Good morning. Unscripted as per usual. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say, but I just want to address some of the bullshit and jelly beans going on in the community, online, on the tubes, to do with real crime that affects real people, where real children are missing and real people are hurting. And real people talk about it all, right? So, as most of you probably know, around July 2020, August 2020 definitely, I was pretty sour on McDo. And you couldn't help but wonder, is profiling evil with Mike King this good cop, bad cop type scenario? And by September 2020, I had a real loathing for McDo because of his shenanigans, right? Okay. Rolling right forward. I had begun to watch Trisha's Websleuths when I had been using her Websleuths website a lot, because I was making videos about the Ramsey family, about John Benet Ramsey's death. And lots of creators, viewers who make videos, all sorts of people, they like to make videos about this case. Some of them rather graphic ones, and they've got some deep, dark psychological shit to say about Patsy Ramsey as an example. But the majority, 99.9% of them, will never say that. No one gives you an opinion and tells you what they think or who they think done it or what, unless, of course, they go safely along with bullshit such as Burke Ramsey hit her over the head with a torch. If Burke Ramsey done it, it would be of my opinion that it was a sadistic, sexual, nasty little crime, because boys of his age have committed those crimes in the past. There's precedents. Who's to say it couldn't happen in that family? The whole CBS scenario felt like a money-making scheme by all parties, frankly. But anywho, that's just my uninformed opinion. So I then started watching a little bit of Websleuths. I'd seen her, had come and gone from shows like that and hadn't really watched her. And then I got really hooked. And I super chatted and talked and in the comments and in live chats, in the chat section. And then she had McDo on, and I gave up on Trisha. And, you know, in my darkest times, one might say, I would sometimes see her as a possible gatekeeper. We know they exist. Giving out a lot of information, but not quite everything, to keep you from the truth. Just some of the weird things that true crimers might think about, right? It's gatekeeping. Conspiracy theorists will also be familiar with that term. Rolling on again, along comes the scientific skeptic, and silly me thought that someone he mocks in his shows was Trisha Griffith. I must have been entirely mistaken about the mocking of Trisha Griffith in Scientific Skeptic. But, you know, I'm merely humanimal. I am fallible, and I make a lot of mistakes. Or I have misconceptions just like everybody else can. So maybe I was wrong about that. What do you think? Now, way back in August, when I was talking on and off about Summer Moon New Wells, her disappearance, and I was talking about her parents, Don Wells, Candice Bly, and her grandmother, Candy Hera, and, you know, mainly talking about the fact that Candice and Candy were the ones there. Obviously, there was a lot of discussion about where was Don, working out what vehicle he was in. You know, so we know now that the older Silverado, probably without computer, probably without GPS tracking, was what Candice Bly had that day to go driving up and down the holler searching for Summer Wells, right, on that day back in June. But on August the 4th, Jamie Wilson, also known as Jackhammer, Jack of all trades, who prior to Summer Wells's disappearance had quite the following on Facebook for, you know, being an identity, a smaller following on YouTube, which has expanded threefold since he covered Summer Wells's disappearance. Well, he was there filming Don Wells at the vigil that Don Wells attended. What a rare occurrence this was. Okay, here's Don at a vigil being held by Lamplight Theatre. Timmy Tim Tim and the like, and all the performance that goes on at these vigils. It was very interesting to see. Now, Jamie Jackhammer Wilson came back to the fore on YouTube because he was the local man who filmed going to the stables, and he first went there at night and then at day, and he's the one that found the bag of the juice, you know, the can't even think what it's called now, the tea, you know, the twisted tea, right? So he went filming there and he made quite a meal of that. I got curious about him because he was at this vigil filming Don. I thought, why? Oh, okay, because he's turned up at the property. First he makes this video at the stables. Suddenly he's actually there, connecting with the Wells family, having permission to go and film. And he filmed the dog trail because Don Wells had filmed this. Maybe Jamie Wilson, with all his experience in filming, thought, I can do a better job. Look, let's connect with the Wells family, go out, and I'll say, look, I'll do a better job of making this film. Okay. Did a better job need to be done? No, not really, right? But he did it. And then he's at the vigil, filming the one and only vigil Don Wells is at. And this got me, Humanimal, thinking out loud on my community post. Jamie Wilson, also known as Jackhammer, has removed a video where he goes to the stables, which is the lake. It's an inlet on a waterway called the stables because there's stables nearby. This mucky bit of water is where horses are taken in, I guess, and that's how it got its main name. And these videos disappeared. Another video has appeared introducing himself to YouTube again. Hi, come on over. Okay, fine. And the trail videos appeared, and this interesting video where he's filming Don Wells at the vigil. And I thought, did Don tell him I'm going to be there? Or could he be the carpooling Jamie? Because remember when Don Wells is on McDow's show. And when I say McDow, let's be clear, I'm talking about Chris McDonough of The Interview Room. Don drives past Ben Hill Road turnoff and he says, we came in here. So you think, wow, was the carpooler? Because he likes to carpool with the workers that he takes. At one point, just before Summer's disappearance, it was the driver of the yellow vehicle seen in the video where Summer is being a young girl dancing in the rain in front of the for sale barrel, okay? We see the yellow vehicle in the distance. Don Wells was the one that gave the account that a yellow vehicle was speeding in the opposite direction from Ben Hill as law enforcement drove towards his home to answer the 911 call out. So what car, I wonder, did Jamie drive? Was he seen there by the police and allowed to go? Was someone with Don Wells? Who is this Jamie? How did Jamie Jackhammer happen to be at the vigil? Was it because he was just there because he was carpooling on the way home, and on the way home Don Wells said, will you go with me into Kingsport? Now, Jamie Jackhammer Wilson has made videos where he's shown sort of down, south of Kingsport. There's Crucible videos. You can pinpoint, the property he's on, the Crucible, where they, Crucible, which is where something is tested and changed. So melting metals and things like that with his mates, right? And so Ben Hill Road, or it might not make any sense at all that if that were the same Jamie, he would be anywhere near Don Wells's property to drop off a car to carpool, especially if he just lives 30k south or on the other side of those south hollers from Don Wells, right? So I wanted to know, does anybody know the name of the Jamie Offsider? Because I find this interesting. Because I'd stopped watching Trisha's Websleuths show, Trisha Griffith, I didn't know that McDonough was on there and had just said Jamie, and it was implied, because he is a super sleuth, expired cop, implying that, he had worked out, nailed down that these Jamies were the same. With all his contacts that he's got in TBI, right, in Hawkins County Sheriff's Office that he alludes to. So I didn't know that he was making out that he knew for a fact. This wasn't supposition. This wasn't, something maybe a super sleuth who was a verified person as far as information on the Websleuths website. So therefore, when representing himself on Trisha's group. So I still want to know why the stables video was removed by Jamie Jackhammer, but hey, it could be a lot of reasons. Maybe he didn't like, once he met the Wells family, the fact that when he'd filmed there, he was showing the twisted tea. He didn't like that maybe it was some footage that gave traction to the idea that, Hunter was drinking and the alcohol was supplied from Candace, because Hunter very well, I believe, may have stolen CBD vapes and alcohol from Candace that she bought that day, I wouldn't put it past him, okay, to use her like that. So for her to maybe even think it's friendship or something sick, whatever might be going on, and nothing at all, everything, I don't know, but given or taken, one or the other. It's a fact that that video shows Hunter in the very spot where the black bag was filmed, dropping something on the ground and turning toward the camera. Okay. And it's all very curious. Now, lots of people like to say they don't watch Humanimal videos. You know, we know the Witch of the South watches them. She'll come onto her. She came onto one live where she was slamming me, calling me Miss Crazy Eyes, bipolar, this, that, the other, whatever it was. I had to listen to a minute or two. And of course, these lives are taken down where she, with a psychologist, registered licensed psychologist of Texas, says quite nasty things about me. She takes it down. My videos about her are up. But she was listening to one of my videos as she came live, and then she switched it off and proceeded to tell everybody that she doesn't watch me. It's quite hilarious and stupid, this whole thing is, right? But I just wanted to clear this up, because when I saw that on the 4th of August, I made a community post, because it is curious. Okay, it was curious. Anybody in their right mind might think, made the video showing people, okay, that's great, he's local, suddenly turns up at the Websleuths to make a video that's not necessary. I found that quite shameful. To show the dog trail, did he need to go on to the dog trail? You know, you ask these questions. True crime, we ask these questions, and you want to work towards nailing things down, right? And I wanted to know, did anyone know the name of the person that was working for Don drywalling? Because, you know, Jackhammer's a jack of all trades. He's there taking down drywall in some of his videos, you know, and he's a crazy dude, right? He's got a very intense energy and a very particular shtick, right? So he might be someone that, you know, there's a very cultural thing there where you understand him or not, or you take a while to get to know him or not. And I imagine loyalties and everything run very deep in his clique. And, you know, but I wanted to know because it seemed that Don had someone with him on the day Summer disappeared. Someone that isn't mentioned in police reports, that they were, you know, questioned and released, sort of thing, when they picked up their vehicle. But what was the we? Was it two of the boys that Don supposedly have? Then which of the boy was left home alone? So when Hunter named only two boys, Josie and maybe Wyatt, was Waylon alone at home, or were all three boys locked in? You know, we wondered, well, was this a lie so that, you know, Candace is Mother of the Year because she doesn't leave her boys locked at home alone, right? So do they go to work with Daddy? But only two boys were named. So it was, but is this the we coming home? But then Don says, well, when I saw my boys down there, right? So you're just thinking. And then someone's suddenly seemingly a step closer to the family, and then suddenly they're there to film the vigil. Was it because he was asked to again? Or was it because he said he was going to be there, so this person went there? But why was the Lakeside video removed? It's still something that he saw to be explained. It doesn't mean that Candace Bly left the twisted tea in those in that black rubbish bag. I'm sorry, this is all over the place, right? I just needed to talk this out. I just watched Trisha Griffith apologize to her viewers and be thankful to the scientific skeptic, someone whom I had thought had been slamming the fuck out of her. Hi guys. Hi. Oh, you know, and the distractions with the animals and the up and the down and I love you. And, you know, so obviously, clearly Humanimal got that wrong. And I'm sure maybe scientific skeptic in his first actual appearance might grace Trisha's Websleuths YouTube show. Maybe that would be something and a half, right? He probably values his anonymity. A lot of people do. And, you know, what happened to Jamie shows that people need to keep themselves safe. I hope my musings, I removed that when I heard that Jamie was getting threatened. I don't know what he's taken to police. I don't know what has been filed in whatever county he lives in. I'm not sure that he's in Hawkins County. But because I don't know how far south it goes, where he lives, etc. So I don't know what he's filed with police. But it seemed pretty reasonable to ask the question, wow, which Jamie is this? Is this the Jamie? So many people are called Jamie. Yes, but it was this rolling in of intimacy. And I thought, well, maybe on the 4th of August, what if he was working with Don while if he was getting a left home and Don's going to Kingsport to a vigil? He's kind of a little bit stuck. So he'd be there, he'd film it maybe. Because he hadn't filmed any of the other ones up until the point, right? He filmed something that Don made, the trails, that didn't need to be reshot. Why go and rewalk that trail? He filmed a trail that, of course, Don Wells knows exists and knew existed. Okay, he's saying he didn't know about it. He's a goddamn liar. Why? I don't know. Maybe just because he doesn't want people thinking his kids are running up and down that trail. Summer is running up and down that trail and going off down to the Lower Creek area at Beach Creek Road where the big shed is, right? So, you know, people lie because they don't want to seem neglectful and things like that, right? Whereas, well, I mean, children on land, they can run amok, right? They do. And they can have a lot of freedoms and they do a lot of dangerous things. Living in the country, yeah, there's a lot of freedom. At least there used to be, and maybe in some parts there still is, and there still should be. It's going to feel very dangerous around Beach Creek Road now, and you know, there's probably been a lot of changes for a lot of families in the area and how they operate. Anywho. So, you know, who was the we? Was it just a slip of the tongue? That's a more difficult one to say, though. Wouldn't you think, when you're driving in, you go, and I came in and I drove past Ben Hill Road. Look at this, it's hot, isn't it? I mean, it's hot in weather, so I'm perspiring like a lady. And it's a harder mistake, I feel. So that's what kicked that off. And I had no idea that these things were happening to Jamie, that he's feeling threatened, he's been threatened, that people have gone to his house. This is disgusting. It's clearly disgusting. I mean, okay, so maybe don't ponder things online, right? Is that what sent them there? Or to just, various minds, mediocre or otherwise, all think alike. I didn't have the skills to find out who the off-sider Jamie was. I wondered if anybody did. And people who did have the skills and ability to find out didn't do that due diligence, it seems. Whether they've seen a community post such as mine, or just wondered the same things exactly as I've explained here, the things that made me wonder who Jamie Jackhammer was. It doesn't mean go and threaten them and ask, where is Summer? Right? Because TBI, it's so hard to... We get used to knowing quite a lot about cases as they go along, and I think in this case, we don't know a lot about the investigation. We don't know who TBI is investigating. I mean, people are so suspect about David Dotson. He is a bizarre Pied Piper character, isn't he? It turns out, maybe he's just moved on from that Seventh-day Adventist church because of the spotlight, the scrutiny, He breezed in and breezed out 3 months before and 3 months after Summer went missing, He's not a Seventh-day Adventist traditionally, and not that you can't change your denomination. People often do. People question Robin, and you've got McDonough himself vouching for her, so whether that means you worry more or less about her, I don't know. But I saw the interview that he aired on the Interview Room with Robin Lane. And yes, again, interesting name, Lois Lane, Batman and Robin, the penultimate sidekicks. And I liked her. I haven't in the past. I know she's quirky. I believe she had an open heart and could see that Summer needed love. And I think this is the desperate heart of this story, is what, in just my opinion, it's the clear lack of love, lack of positive parenting, lack of any sort of corrective, caring attention to educate her, to nourish her, to stimulate her. It can't all just come from others in church, Mr. Wells, right? So to take the family diligently to church and to want to be there, I think that was good. You see 2 of the boys dinging bells and taking part in little parts of shows throughout the year, and some of the videos that have probably been removed, probably been removed from the Seventh-day Adventist website, to YouTube channel, etc. But that's great. But it's not up to school to do it all, and it's not up to Saturday Sabbath school or a Sunday school or wherever to parent and raise children, to instill values, to encourage them, to enrich their lives. This has to happen at home, and I think we've all seen the pure hell and fuckery that Summer and all three boys, JWW, lived with. Okay, it would have been a daily nightmare. Sure, the boys had fun, didn't they? They were riding motorcycles, and maybe Summer would have too when she got older, and I think they had a basketball hoop and they were shooting guns, and you know, hey, they were living the farm life. What the fuck was Summer doing? Swinging or being directed by Mummy Dearest to dance in the rain freely. I mean, I love the rain. I love being out in the rain. If I could be in the rain on the ocean, or in the ocean, even better, or in a forest, even better. But there's that distance created with the camera. So if you say, well, look, you know, Candace, at least, you know, she's spending time with Summer, she's filming her, look, she's filming her. There's that distance, It's not a true interaction. It's taking that real one-on-one connection away, because there's that barrier. It's a fence, it's a screen, and she used her in a way so that she could make TikTok videos, and she used her for content. Candace Bly used her daughter for content, and she was some friends with people that have some very bizarre friends. Okay, we've seen the Facebook of Ellie's friend. Okay, I'm not going to get into that now. This is so rambly as it is. She was trying to project something with her image, wasn't she? And she was there when Summer went missing. Whatever happened on that day, McDonough will tell you he's spoken to people in Kingsport, and he's confirmed a few things about where and when people were, where they were and when it was. But there's three adults in Summer's life that are acting truly bizarre, and this is Don, Candace, and Candy. Candy skedaddled, right?